let's talk about something that's quietly building up inside thousands of companies. It's a hidden risk, a kind of invisible liability that could seriously determine who wins and who loses over the next decade. We're talking about talent debt. Just let that sink in for a second. This one sentence, it's a whole idea right there. It's this argument that a move that seems incredibly smart right now, automating away all that entry-level work, is actually creating this massive hidden cost that companies are absolutely going to have to pay for down the line. And to really, truly grasp what's at stake here, we're not going to start at a tech company or some Wall Street bank. Nope, we're starting in a place where a mistake isn't just a bad quarterly report, it's literally a matter of life and death. And that brings us to what I call the surgeon's warning. See, it's this really tough lesson about technology and training that surgeons had to learn about a decade ago. A lesson that the rest of us, the entire business world, are about to learn the hard way. The whole thing happened incredibly fast. Around 2011, robotic surgery systems started becoming the norm. And then, just a few years later, medical leaders noticed something truly terrifying. Their pipeline of new, up-and-coming surgeons was completely breaking down. Fast forward to today, and surgical education has been totally redesigned from the ground up to fix this crisis. What happened was the learning process itself just shattered. For generations, a junior surgeon learned by assisting. They were in there, holding instruments, feeling the tissue. They learned through physical practice. But with the new robot, the expert surgeon is over at a console. And the junior? They're just watching a screen. All that hands-on practice, the muscle memory, the gut instinct, it just vanished. And this is the most important part. The technology wasn't the bad guy here. The robots were an amazing leap forward. The real crisis was caused by a failure of imagination, a failure to stop and actually redesign the training to match the new reality. And this is where the story pivots right out of the operating room and lands directly in your office. I want you to look at that last point again, but do me a favor. This time, just mentally replace the word surgeon with analyst or designer or marketer, whatever entry-level role lives in your world. Which brings us to the core concept here, your talent debt. It's this invisible liability that is almost certainly accumulating on your company's balance sheet as we speak. And look, this isn't some abstract theoretical problem. The data is staring us right in the face. Right now, 2/3, that's 66% of large companies are actively cutting back on entry-level hiring, all because AI can do the routine stuff those jobs used to handle. And on the surface, the logic seems totally sound, right? Why pay a person for what a machine can do? So what exactly is talent debt? Well, it's what happens when you optimize for today's efficiency but completely ignore tomorrow's expertise. You're not actually saving money, you're just borrowing talent from your future self. And trust me, the interest rates on that loan are brutal. And here's why it's such a dangerous trap. Just think about it. Your senior leaders, your best people, they didn't just show up on day one as experts. They got that good by doing the messy work, by making mistakes on low-stakes projects. All the stuff we're so excited to automate away now. In doing that, we're literally breaking the pipeline that creates our future leaders. Okay, so that's the problem, but there is a way out of this. The hospitals figured it out, and so can we. And that brings us to the solution. It's all about creating something called the elevated entry-level role.
The old junior role was all about rote work, right? Processing things, executing simple tasks, basically just repeating what you were told. The new elevated role is the complete opposite. It is all about one thing, judgment. In this new world, the junior's job is to frame the problem for the AI, to critically evaluate what the AI spits out, and to handle all the tricky, complex edge cases that still need a human brain.
So how do you actually make this happen? Well, it really boils down to 3 very intentional moves. First, you have to rewrite the job descriptions themselves to be about judgment, not just tasks. Second, you have to build real, structured mentorship programs, not just leaving it to chance. And third, you have to create sandbox projects. These are safe spaces where your junior people can take risks, mess up, and learn from their failures without bringing the whole company down. Now, the good news is you don't need some massive, expensive consulting project to figure out if you've got this problem. Let's wrap up with a really simple diagnosis you can do, like this afternoon. I just want you to ask yourself, and be honest, how exposed is my team? How much talent debt is my company carrying right now?
Here's the test. It's super simple. Just pick one single entry-level role on your team. Then write down every single task that person does in a normal week. Got it? Okay. Now, take a pen and circle only the tasks that actively build their judgment. I'm talking about things like dealing with messy data, making decisions when things are uncertain, or having to fix a mistake.
And here's the moment of truth. If you look down at that list and you are struggling to circle anything, well, you have your answer. You've got a role that helps with today's to-do list but builds absolutely zero capability for tomorrow. You've just found your talent dead. Because at the end of the day, the companies that are going to dominate the next decade, they won't be the ones that were just the fastest to automate jobs away. No way. They'll be the ones who are thoughtfully and deliberately redesigning their career ladders while everyone else was busy celebrating short-term wins. They're the ones who understood what the surgeons learned the hard way. You simply cannot have experts tomorrow if you aren't intentionally building them today.